Here we go, it's the playoffs.
We've got your preview for the first leg of the conference semifinal.
Do we have a chance at winning at Yankee Stadium? We discuss it next.
What's going on, Five Stripe fam? I'm AJ, this is Tanner McLeod. Before we get into it, become a member of the Notification Squad on YouTube by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button, or hop over from Facebook and follow us. So guys, let's get right into that match preview, and this Sunday we face NYCFC in the first leg of the conference semifinals, and it's at that tiny playpen known as Yankee Stadium. But NYCFC just dispatched Philadelphia Union really handily, actually, and well, they had played them 2 times in a row, so it was they knew each other fairly well.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely. They actually kind of slapped back at Philadelphia after their little bit of banter about the worst Halloween costume being Yankee Stadium being dressed up as a soccer pitch.
Yeah.
But that first leg, like AJ said, is this Sunday. The second leg to follow at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on November the 11th. NYCFC ended up finishing 3rd in the table this year in the Eastern Conference. Mind you, they lost their coach Patrick Vieira to French side Nice about halfway through the season. Since then, he was replaced by Dome Torrent, and things honestly didn't go that great once they got towards the end of the season. They did have those games against Philadelphia, but aside from that, not too hot.
Yeah, especially to their end of the season, they pretty much dropped points in 7 of their last 10 matches. And so they were reeling a little bit until they picked up their form against Philadelphia Union, and yeah, they looked really good. Yeah, and it's very scary because Yangel Herrera has come back as well. They're they're rock in midfield, and so one part of me is like, okay, yeah, let them come at full strength, and we'll take them on. But another part of me is like, if he was injured, it's a very opportune time to come back.
That'd be nice, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to knockout competitions, especially 2-legged competitions, everything else kind of goes out the window. It's different from any game you've ever seen. This is going to be Atlanta United's first taste of it. We'll have another taste of it again when the CONCACAF Champions League kicks off at the beginning of next season. But a lot of it can really come down to luck, timing, injuries, who you face, when you face them in the form. Because in a one-off game, form can go out the table. But over a 2-legged tie, things can get very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I know for me, after the Toronto game this past Sunday, I kind of talked about the different scenarios and who we would face and how we could face them. I'm really hoping that Red Bull end up playing DC United, because I think that's a team that's in a very rich run of form right now and could potentially beat the Supporter Shield holders. So that'll be interesting. As far as NYCFC is concerned, yeah, they haven't been playing great, and traditionally our fixtures with them have been pretty damn close. We've played them 4 times. Each team has won 3-1 in the other at home last season, and then this season featured 2 draws, a 2-2 draw early in the season and a pretty damn good game at the Benz, and then a very interesting draw that Atlanta United held on to up at Yankee Stadium. So things have been pretty balanced between these 2 teams, so it's going to be very difficult to pick out a winner between the 2.
Especially, yeah, also NYCFC, I mean, if you want to call it our short history as well, that we haven't been successful in the playoffs. They haven't been successful in the playoffs either. So really, it's something that's got to give, and I think it makes for a very exciting matchup. Absolutely, for sure. But yeah, as we said, their previous 10, not very pretty, and so hopefully we can grab something at Yankee Stadium, because I mean, we know it's going to be difficult, but I think at least during the latter half, teams started to get points at Yankee Stadium. So, I think it at least bodes a little bit better than if we were going off of their form mid-season. So
absolutely, it's not the fortress that it was at the beginning of the season, where no one was getting any points off them whatsoever. And I think what people really have to take into account with a 2-legged fixture like it is the timing of the matches and where they're played, and also the importance of away goals. For those of you who haven't, been involved in watching a fixture like this before, away goals, whether you like it or not, are really the key to this. If you can nick an away goal, especially if you can nick a draw, a multiple goal, I mean, if Atlanta could get 2 goals away from home, that is key.
Fantastic.
If you can take away goals into a match at home where teams have to attack you, it'll change the way that teams play at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Because in a one-off game, teams can just bunker, play on the counter, and hope to snatch a goal or get something to break their way. If a team needs to get a goal, in the case in which we draw NYCFC in a scored draw, they have to get a goal, which means they have to open up, which plays right into Atlanta United's hands. Which is why I'm so comfortable with the second leg being at home, especially if a team is chasing a goal. That plays right into United's hands. I'm not so comfortable with Atlanta playing the first leg at home or having to chase goals at the bins, because we've seen that teams can bunker down there. I think the biggest thing for me right now is the fact that not only have City kind of gotten a couple of results against Philadelphia, but the form of their lead striker, David Villa, who leads them with goals at 15 goals, scored a couple times last night. He's finding his form again. That can be a problem for Atlanta United. Hopefully, with our talisman, Joseph Martinez, seeing the back of the the ball hit the back of the net against Toronto, he can get back to finding his form again.
Right, definitely. And also, Maxi Morales, I mean, their creative playmaker essentially is so dangerous. He's pretty much their Miguel Almiron. I mean, we need to contain him, I think, even more than David Villa. But, I mean, Villa really only needs just a drop of a dime and half a chance and he can score. And so
he is a canny operator who has been around the world and seen a thing or two. He knows what to do and when to do it.
Right.
And he worries me because he's played in World Cup finals, he's played in Europa League finals, he's played in Champions League finals. This guy has played in the biggest games around the world for the biggest teams. He's not going to be fazed by it. He's going to be a man for the moment, and if he gets a chance, he is going to take it. So Atlanta United will have to be very smart about when they attack and be very tight at the back, which is something I'd say we've struggled in recent months to do. Yankee Stadium, mind you, it kind of lends itself to be a bit more defensive because of the size of the pitch, and I think we all remember how Atlanta was hanging on and defending for their lives at the end of that fixture this season. But it's really going to come down to who scores that first goal, I think.
I think so, for sure. I mean, if NYCFC scores first, then I think you might see them bunker a little bit, and it might really open us up, and I think that is troublesome. So we need to really bring that urgency really immediately in the match and try to score that first goal, because that allows us to maybe sit back a little bit if we wanted to. And but especially if we can get to, oh boy, yeah, this makes it a very, very tasty tie at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the key for us is if we can get a goal like we did earlier this season with the beautiful ball, from Julian Gressel into Joseph Martinez. And Julian Gressel, mind you, he's tied with assists for Miguel Almiron, leading this team as our leading assist makers. I think he's going to be very key in this game because I'm not sure if Miggy will start. But if he can get that goal early and get Joseph firing, that can be pretty good. So, I mean...
Especially our league-leading goal scorer who broke the single-season record. I mean... But, by the way, did you see his... he was just in glee when fellow Venezuelan and Atlanta Brave Ender Inciarte handed him the Golden Boot trophy. I mean, he was just ecstatic.
It was awesome.
His smile is just so contagious.
When he smiles, it's amazing. I think there was a tweet, one of the few things that can make Joseph smile, and it was that goal. But he deserves it. He's earned it. I mean, it was awesome to see. It's the first time anyone in Atlanta's won something big as far as a trophy of any individual award is concerned. As far as I'm concerned, winning a Golden Boot is nothing to shake a stick at. You have to be good throughout the season. He did it, setting the record with 31 goals.
And it's thanks to the teammates as well.
And yeah, you can see the picture that they took, the team picture, how much it meant to him and to the team, because he couldn't do without the service that he got. And you had, like I said, Julian Gressel before, Miguel Almiron. He had all these guys feeding him the ball, putting him in a position to succeed, and he took it. And, it was just awesome to see him get that award and to see that smile. But hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that come Sunday.
Exactly. That would mean mostly happy days since, from that stat that he's had 10 game-winning goals of his 31 goals. I mean, that's, a third of his goals have been very clutch or have given us the lead. It's, usually a good sign if Joseph Martinez scores. So.
Absolutely. But usually he is partnered with his two buddies up top, being Tito Vijal and Miguel Almiron. But it's looking like one of them might not start but might make the squad. But Tito, it looks like he might be fit.
Right. So Tito played, a half at Toronto, so there was some good match fitness that he gained there, and Garza, of course, had to come in at the 30th minute, so that's another person that's gained some match fitness as well coming into this match, and I think maybe in a second we'll see if they start or not. But also, Miggy trained all of this week, but pretty much I think he lacks that match fitness probably, and so we'll see if he starts.
But getting into that, it comes into how are we going to line up? In 5 Stripe Weekly, we kind of talked about potentially playing a back three. We kind of talked about how we wouldn't want to be playing New York City because their field doesn't exactly lend itself to playing a back three because it leaves you a man short in an already tiny midfield where having superiority in that area of the pitch is a real key to controlling this match.
Right, and so it makes it for a very, very difficult prediction here, I think, but I think with our trepidation, I think my personal trepidation with Ford at the back at the moment, because it's just leaky as hell.
Spin all over the place.
Yeah, and organization, what organization? But I think 3-5-2 has been our strongest suit. But
especially on the road. Earlier in the season, you know, some of the results that Atlanta were picking up when they were so consistent performing on the road was a result of them playing 3-5-2, being controlled at the back, and then taking their opportunities when they went forward.
Right, and it's maybe not Tata Martino's favored formation, but I think he's got to go with this formation for this match. And for me, I think, yeah, you know, Guzan in between the sticks, but that three-man back line, I think it's Franco Escobar, it's Parky, it's LGP. I think Gressel and Garza come in as the wing backs, and the trio in the midfield. That's what's going to be interesting. And I think I'm going to lean towards Jeff Lorenowitz, and I think I'm going to lean towards. Actually, yeah, I mean it's pretty much it's going to be Remedi and it's going to be Nagbe as that triumvirate in the middle, and Tito and Joseph up top. I mean it's the strongest of what we have healthy and in form probably, but so Barco just misses out. I know some people probably wouldn't be too remiss of that, but I think that offers our best 11. And in terms of the strategy, I mean, yeah, you saw that service from Gressel from out wide. It was, you know, I think we can pull that off again and again because, you know, yeah, it's not the widest pitch, but I think we'll be able to, you know, get an early ball in, and Joseph might be able to get on the ball like he did last time at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric Remedi wasn't available. He wasn't with the team yet for that first match that we had in Yankee Stadium this season. I kind of see where you're going with that, and I would agree with you. I think that might provide, in theory, the strongest defense because you'll have Lorenowitz dropping in to defend as well, which has that back three, assuming they're defending like they're supposed to and keeping their positioning. It gives you an extra man in front of them to kind of sweep up any balls coming into them. You'll also have Eric Remedi, who will be able to do a lot of running in the midfield and close down those players. Not to mention, you know, Darlington Nagbe is going to offer you that high work rate, running back and forth. However, he would be playing a bit more in an advanced role in that case. I'm not sure if that's something that you want to sacrifice with having two guys that might not be the best on the ball under pressure in Lorenowitz and Remedi. I think you might have the idea of dropping one of those two, bringing in Ezequiel Barco, only because he might actually, and I've been a critic of Ezequiel Barco, but this could be a match where it could favor him. It's small, it's technical, it's going to be down to players who can control the ball in tight spaces. And for as much as he frustrates me and other people, he might be very useful in this game, especially in the middle of the park, if he can hold on to the ball, keep it close to him, and be able to distribute from that number 10 position because of how narrow the pitch is. He won't exactly have area to cut back into because everything's going to be there. So he might excel in a role where he's playing these tight touch passes with a guy like Darlington Nagbe to help control that midfield area. That being said, if he does start on the bench, and Miguel Almiron, I think we both assume, will be on the bench, that gives Atlanta United a lot of options, especially in the second half, if they need to change things up based upon how the game is going, to bring on two very attack-minded, forward-thinking players and can really change the game. And that's something that Tata Martino is lucky to have at his disposal. So I think it'll be very interesting. I agree with you. I think it'll be 3-5-2. You have to be a bit more conservative. You have to be a bit more pragmatic and understand that you only need one goal and you don't need to give too many away, because if you can get back to home, get to where NYCFC has to chase the game, then you can have hopefully a close to full match fitness Miguel Almiron. You might be able to switch back to that back four, although if Atlanta United are winning, I'd actually stick with the back three, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the back three. It might be the most, you know, pragmatic option to get the result that we need.
Yeah, but the biggest question is if Tata Martino is going to be pragmatic, which he, you know, he hasn't really shown to want to do. But I mean, you know, if we were being bombarded by 20 shots in the second half, then yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably bunker a little bit more like we did at the second half in Yankee Stadium this year. But I think there might be a thing where I think Tito was not healthy at that time, so Tito would be a difference here as well, where on the counter he's of course super deadly, and I think if we do sit back a little bit more, we are able to be a little bit more direct and will be even more deadly. So
I think one of the few issues about being direct in this stadium is that the space between where the defense will line up if City decide to press and be high at the pitch, the distance between where they'd be pressing and the goalkeeper in the 18-yard box is a very small margin. Luckily, you have players who are very talented on the ball and your back line, like an LGP, who, as we all know, can play those balls over the top and drop them on a dime. So I think if City come out pressing, that's something that Atlanta will have to look at, because
those long diagonals, I think, will be very, very key in this match.
You have great movement from both Tito and Joseph Martinez when it comes to making those diagonal runs in behind the defense. I think that Atlanta has to be very smart in this game. They can't try to play out of the back if City press like we saw them try to do against New York Red Bull. It's going to have to be a case of, if they're on the ball, just hoof it long, because you can't play around when you have, again, a player like David Villa of his caliber who, if you play him in and give him an easy chance, he will put it away, and that will put you and the tie in jeopardy if you're silly and not taking care of the ball.
Right, and if you hoof it long and then, you know, where they have to pick it up in their half, maybe you can press them and then you can grab, you know, a little bit of possession for yourself in their half. So, you know, it's not all bad to always, or to, you know, never hoof it. So, you know, I think it's, you know, those are, I think, the keys to us getting a result there. But I think now it comes down to what our predicted scoreline is. So
for me, I think it's going to be a very tight game between two teams that really don't want to make mistakes. I think it's actually going to benefit NYCFC having played Philadelphia and gotten that playoff win under their belt going into this match. Being at home, I think that they will end up nicking a victory, although I think it'll be very close. I think NYCFC will take it 2-1, but that being said, that's not the worst result in the world. I think people need to understand that getting that away goal and losing 2-1 and only trailing by 1 isn't a bad thing. It means going into the bins, you only need to win and, you know, hold a clean sheet, which hasn't been a great, you know, issue. But I think Atlanta United can get that 1 goal at the bins, which would then force City to come out and play. And when they come out and play, I think Atlanta United would be able to nick a 2nd goal at the bins, which then leads you to, you know, if they do score, you go to extra time, but you have that in front of your home fans. So I'm going to go with NYCFC nicking a 2-1 victory at home on their home turf, which is a tough place to play, but I'm still going to be optimistic moving out of that into the 2nd leg.
Yeah. For me, I think I'm not bullish either, and I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, which us getting that away goal still is very, very crucial.
Absolutely.
And I think that bodes well for us coming into the bends, so, you know.
Absolutely. A 1-1 draw would be an ideal result.
Absolutely, for sure. Because, yeah, I think at Yankee Stadium, to expect anything more is maybe a little foolhardy, but if we do get anything more than that, then fantastic, because that means, yeah, way more positivity than we're expecting out of this match. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it's up to you guys now. Like, what's your predicted scoreline for this match, and who do you think is going to start? But let us know in the comments below. But that's it for our match preview for our first leg in the conference semifinals. And yeah, I mean, for Tanner McLeod, I'm AJ. Remember to subscribe if you haven't, smash that like button, and share this video because it really does help us a lot. And we'll see you in the next video.